What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So a favorite brand on this channel, no secret if you've been watching for a while, I'm a big Mancera guy. And a majority, I would say, of my Manceras, more cooler weather driven stuff, heavier, darker, more ouds, florals, roses, powdery fragrances, things like that. I got some heavy stuff when it comes to Mancera, and I got some that I really am looking forward to wearing a time or two this fall. So I figured I'd go over with you my top 10 personal favorite Manceras for the fall season. So let's dive in. Stay tuned. Starting with one that does not get any love. If you like coffee fragrances and you don't mind a fruity, vanillic, sweet type of coffee fragrance, you might want to look into Oud Cafe. So Oud Cafe is sweeter than it is Oud. It's not a hefty dose of coffee. You do get a nice hit of coffee early. As it dries down, you do start to lose some of that coffee bean smell. And it's not over-the-top funky oud. It really is a beautiful fragrance. It's more of a sweet fragrance than anything else. Gourmand, delectable type of stuff. There's some peach and black currant, different fruits like that, but not over-the-top fruity because of the specific oud oil that they use here with that coffee note. Like I said, a little bit of a vanillic sweet cream type of sweetness to this one. Great stuff, great performer. Hard to not like. Again, not much of a challenge for oud. Not much of a challenge for over-the-top like fresh brewed pot of coffee either. It kind of balances somewhere in the middle where it's just as much coffee as it is oud wood, as it is fruity, as it is sweet, delectable gourmand. It's kind of a nice harmonious balance with phenomenal performance. Hard not to like, great for the cooler weather. It's Mancera's Oud Cafe. This next one's very woodsy, oriental, spicy, a bit smoky and resinous. You get a little hint of fruits, but more of a woody oriental overall. It is Mancera's Sand Oud, not one that you'll hear too many people speak on. This is, not really a bold play, but not your average pick from Mancera. They have so many options in the house that some good stuff never really gets shown any love and attention. And this is one of those. Not extremely dry and woodsy, but there's nothing that really gives any texture or moisture to this one outside of the, not quite nutmeg type of dry woody spice, but it's in that realm of what you would consider. I don't even remember nutmeg being in here, but that's the example I like to give because that's a drier woody spice type of note. And you do have a little bit of a smokiness. There's a saffron here that does a few different things. I find you get a little bit of a leathery facet, you get a little bit of smokiness, and of course there's a nice strong, warm, ambery tone to this fragrance, pretty much from start to finish, and you get more and more of it as it dries down. Again, with phenomenal performance. That's every single one of these is a great performer on to a beastly performer in this video. And Sand Oud I would call a beast because it's really damn good if you like woody, oriental, spicy fragrances. This next one's extremely popular. I think it's better for the spring and fall than any other seasons. I know some people like to wear this one in the summer, which kind of wild to me, but hey, to each their own. I think it's just too creamy and heavy for the high heat personally. But for the fall, Oud Lemon Mint, one of the best Manceras ever produced. The popularity on this one is so great that I think, now this is not rumor, this is not hearsay, this is nothing I've heard, it's just a gut feeling. They seem to be going with their, most popular scents to do intense flankers. They did Intense Cedrat Boise, then Red Tobacco. So that's their two most popular. So I would think, this to me is probably their third most popular fragrance. I'm almost willing to bet that the next intense flanker we get would be Oud Lemon Mint. Again, I don't know. It's a gut feeling. I'd like to see that come to fruition because this is phenomenal. I'd like to see what kind of spin they would put on this DNA because it doesn't necessarily need to become more intensive in strength and power, but intensify the profile with more aggressive notes without losing what this fragrance is about. I think would be interesting because you do have a light minty tone, a creamy almond sandalwood oud combination with some lemon that really stands out as far as the citruses and the fruits in this fragrance. It's just a pure delight. It's not a funky type of oud, but the way it blends with the almond, I believe vanilla's in here as well to add some of that sweet creaminess, and sandalwood. It's just Start to finish, a very smooth, enjoyable fragrance. I always understood why this one's popular. It's hard not to like, and it's great for the fall, in my opinion. And it's Mancera's Oud Lemon Mint. One of their newest releases and immediately most popular fragrances if you're looking for versatile, everyday wears that's not overloaded with rose or oud, because a lot of their profiles either have a dominant rose or a dominant oud. Now, you do get rose, but this is basically peppered Allure Sport. We're talking about Cosmic Pepper from Mancera. Great, great, great everyday wear. Black pepper, a touch of oud that just gives it this dry, woody facet. I don't get any oud funk. There's a damask rose in here that, again, I don't get much rose, a hint of rose floral tones with a bit of powder. And it's mainly a black pepper note that doesn't tickle the nose like a lot of heavy black pepper accords can from time to time, but does offer a bit of a fresh peppered spice with citruses, a touch of woods and florals, a nice musk. This is just a beautiful fragrance through and through that you could wear every single day. Year round, honestly, just be easy on the sprays in the high heat, but in the fall time, day and night, casual, dressy occasion, evenings, it doesn't matter. This stuff works. This is a great fragrance, high compliment factor. What a great offering. I would encourage everyone to try this if you want one of the safer plays that's mass appealing but has depth. Because again, mass appeal and similar profile to things like Chanel's Allure Sport, but a much deeper, more complex fragrance with a little bit better quality, great performance. It's just phenomenal for the season. And it's Mancera's Cosmic Pepper. Now this next one, a little bit more of a challenge for some. We're starting to step things up a bit here. This one I got at the tail end of winter. At the beginning of this year. It's a 2023 release, and I almost immediately went into spring and summer weather, so hasn't been ideal. Whereas when we get to the milder fall weather, Black Noir from Mancera is going to just transition right into the rotation perfectly. Now, black leather accord, as it should be with a name like this, powdery. You gotta like powdery. It's a little soft. And when I say soft, I don't mean weak. I mean it's a sensual, softer fragrance. It's not rough around the edges. There's no syntheticness to it. At least not to me. Beautiful powdery fragrance. And just look at this bottle. I absolutely love the bottle. You've got vanilla and tonka bean with a touch of earthiness from a Haitian vetiver that doesn't really darken things up too much, mixing with a little bit of tobacco and patchouli that kind of add to that Haitian vetiver to give you this light, woody, earthy tone, black leather, powdery sweetness and florals. I mean, it's a beautiful fragrance. I don't think it's masculine. I don't think it's super feminine, but if I had to pick between the two, I would say it leans to the feminine side because it's on the powdery side of things, but there's a lot of grounded, earthy tones to this one, to where I think anybody and everybody that appreciates a really good fragrance can enjoy this one. This is not your run-of-the-mill standard Macy's counter type of stuff. While not a super challenging fragrance either, this is a perfume lover's type of profile. Phenomenal performer as well. Again, it's Mancera's Black Noir. Now this next one's one of the most inaccurately named fragrances in beautiful bottle, but inaccurately named fragrances I've ever seen. This is Mancera's Silver Blue. The bottle matches the name, but the profile does not match the bottle or the name. Absinthe, spices, earthy greens like oak moss, and caramel. Doesn't that sound like an odd combination? It kind of is. Any of you familiar with Nichané's Papilefico? It's kind of that profile plus caramel. Pretty similar. I find it's wildly redundant to have the two. I have a decant of Papilefico, and when I smelled it, I immediately thought of this. If you drop that syrupy sweet caramel. Man, is this good, though. So strange, but good strange. Good like, I'm glad I bought this because it doesn't smell like anything else in my collection strange. Unless you got Papilefico, of course. But I would say Papilefico is a better everyday wear year-round, whereas this is better in the cooler weather and evenings especially. But I think daytime absolutely works for this one in the fall as well. It's got that gourmand facet to it. This caramel note almost comes across a little bitter for still being sweet and syrupy, almost like melted caramel or caramel syrup. It's that syrupy type of caramel, not just like the little caramel cubes or anything. Think Think Hershey's caramel syrup or something like that, you know, or maybe the caramel inside a caramello or a Cadbury caramel egg. Just that kind of gooey caramel. It smells delicious, mixing with earthy greens, spices, and woods. Again, I state it's an odd combination, but it works. It really works to set you apart in the fall season. I actually can't wait to get this one in my rotation personally. Hence why we're getting into the, you know, the upper tier of what I'm looking to wear as far as Mancera this fall. Get your nose on this fragrance. No, it's not a blue fragrance, but it's a damn good fragrance. It's Mancera Silver Blue. Now then, these final four, some of my favorites Pierre Montale's ever put out. I gotta say, Tonka Cola. I'm a big Tonka Cola guy. I'm a fan. Cherry Cola, the spices here kind of give off that feeling of the carbonation of the cherry Coke, if you will. This is so freaking good. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful. A little spritz on the hand. I don't want to spray too much. I'm going to the gym in a bit. Hence the oversized Kill Crew tee. Slightly soured. Cherry Cola. Spicy. It gets powdery and sweet as it dries down without losing that zing that you get in the opening. Phenomenal performer. High compliment factor. No, it does not smell just like Creation E from Roger Parfums or Enigma, depending on where you live. There is slight similarities here, the whole cola thing, but that's a tobacco heliotrope cognac bomb. You get none of that here. This is legitimately cherry Coke, whereas that just kind of has a cola vibe. Not the same fragrance. This is legit cherry Coke in a fragrance, which sounds weird. It's like, why would you want to smell that? Well, when you sample it, you'll understand why you would want to smell like that, because this is some of his best work, at least in my opinion. Such a great offering. I kind of almost want to classify it as a gourmand because it's so cherry dominant in the top and vanillic and things like that. And it's kind of a cherry Coke's kind of a treat, right? Kind of falls into the snack category. So I guess it would technically be gourmand. I don't know. But regardless, it smells phenomenal. It performs great. It's unique in my collection. It's Tonka Cola. This is one of the best releases of 2024. I think this has higher level versatility than something like Cedrat Boise, which is even difficult for me to say. But I stick to my guns on it. We're talking about Amberful. This is great year-round. This is a true signature scent. It works just as well in summer, in spring, and winter as it does here in fall. I could put this in every season. Day and night. Casual, dressy, evenings. It doesn't matter. I get a little bit of Ganymede mixed with a little bit of Tigar without the same notes of either, because it's not very metallic and green. It's more green than metallic. There's your Ganymede tie-in. And then it has that similar spiced, woody spiced citrus smell of Tigar, but it's not the same notes. It's yuzu that gives off this kind of lemony vibe when Tigar is all about the grapefruit. It's a different type of spice. It's a green spice more than anything else. Very woodsy, just a beautiful fragrance. Ambery citrus with greens and spices. Just phenomenal. Phenomenal. Bravo, Pierre Montale. I love it. I had to talk about it. I wanted to feature it. It's in the top 3 for a reason. This is indeed ranked. The numbers are irrelevant because somebody will go, bro, I need numbers on the screen. No, you don't. Just watch the video. Doesn't matter what number 3 or number 7 is. These are the 10. These are the 10 in my personal opinion. And if you haven't tried this yet, you owe it to yourself because it doesn't smell exactly like either of the 2 fragrances I said it's kind of a blend of. But it smells enough like them to remind me of elements of them while creating its own profile at the same time. It's a really good performer. One of my favorite releases of this year. This is so good. Mancera Amberful. Now, those of you that watch me on a regular basis and have gotten to know my taste probably can guess the 2 I would put at 1 and 2 for this season. One of them, which we're about to talk about, I've mentioned prior on fall fragrances I'm excited to wear this year. It dwarfs what it's flankered from. I think it's far superior in profile. I just think it's better than Red Tobacco is Intense Red Tobacco. I love it. And it's not a more intense fragrance. I like to call it Red Tobacco Privé. I think that's a better name for it because it is refined and smoothed out. It mutes some of that over-the-top pungent sweetness in the opening. It's more about leather, spices, and woods. than it is over-the-top smoked tobacco and crazy sweet. You have all of those elements there, but there's a shift in the way they're balanced. Again, I feel like this is the Privé flanker. I think that would have been a better name. This is so freaking good. I don't know if and when I'll touch my bottle of red tobacco, because intense red tobacco is so much better. And it's still red tobacco. Again, it still has all the same elements, just totally rebalanced and reworked and refined. It's a smoother fragrance. It's not nuclear, but it's still a beast. This is still all-day longevity. Great projection and sillage. It's just not like melt your face off type of performance. It's phenomenal. If you haven't tried it yet, you should. Even if you have red tobacco. Yeah, there's some redundancy there. Doesn't change the fact this is a better fragrance. Again, my opinion, some won't agree, but you won't know for yourself if you don't try it. Don't take my word for it. Don't take anybody else's word for it. If it interests you in any way, please sample this fragrance, because you might feel like you need to add it to your collection. I think it's that good. Can't wait to get it back in my rotation. It's Mancera's Intense Red Tobacco. And the main event, the king of the fall season, in my opinion. From Mancera, I don't think there's a better option to wear any time during the autumn than Intense Cedrat Boise. Both the Intense flankers that I spoke on earlier in the video are my two favorite choices from Mancera for the fall. The two I'm most eager to wear. The two out of all of these 10 that no matter what, if you watch my weekly rotation videos, you will see them make an appearance. It will happen. I really want to get all of these in my rotation. In practice, is that going to be reality? Maybe, maybe not. I plan to, but things change from day to day. But I can tell you damn straight up, good and well, these will make an appearance. I'm eager to wear them. I think this is some of their best work. This is a true intense flanker to the original. It took everything that was good about the original and made a stronger profile. Made a stronger fragrance and performance too. It's intense in every sense of the word for how you would tie it to what an intense flanker should be. It made the profile stronger. It's a more intensive citric fruitiness. It's warmer. It's spicier. It's a lot more animalic. You have Cambodian oud and suede, and it's a lot of leather. Versus the original. This is a darker, heavier, warmer, spicier version that still maintains all of the charm of the original, and it's a 40% oil concentration that will obliterate your nose. After 20 minutes, I cannot smell this fragrance. 10 hours later, it comes alive like I just sprayed it. My nose comes to life sooner than 10 hours in. I would say 3 or 4 hours in when it calms down a bit. But this stuff's a monster. An absolute monster. And if you've tried it and you're like, I don't know what he's talking about, it's not like that for me. It's like 2 hours. Again, I state, this obliterates noses. It is crazy strong for the wearer. It's very overwhelming. Be mindful of where and how many sprays. My advice, nowhere up here. Nowhere. Not one spray anywhere up front. At best behind the ears. No collarbones, no shoulders, no elbows and forearms, because it's going to radiate under your nose. Spray however you want. This is just my personal advice from my experience with this fragrance. If you want to keep your nose alive as long as you can. Because the sillage, you're going to be living in that bubble. It's going to get you no matter what. Even if you just do one spray directly behind your neck, it's going to get you no matter what. But this stuff is phenomenal. High compliment factor, just like the original. Just intense. Truly intense. All across the board. The best Mancera for fall, in my opinion. Intense Cedrat Boise. Well, that's the 10. Not the only 10, but the main 10 from Mancera that I think are just phenomenal for the fall, that I'm looking to spray on this neck this particular season. So I hope this video was helpful for someone. There are links down in the description if you want to check any of these out. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications before you leave. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one.